Hello classmates, Tyke Harrison here from Central Texas. And so our discussion board scenario today has us in a situation where we've got a DPE, a designated pilot examiner, who's presenting a scenario to us and we're responding to it. And the scenario is we're flying from Richmond, which is a Class C airport. We're flying down to the southeast and we're going to Dare County Regional Airport. And we're already being told that we are not going to be able to land at Dare County because there's deer on the runway. Now, if we already know that, we're probably going to plan differently. So let's assume that we don't know that. So how would we really plan this flight? And what will we do once we were confronted with that? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plan this flight, and I'm going to do it on ForeFlight, and I'm also going to do it on paper. Yes, I still carry paper charts with the E6B and plotter, divider, all that stuff, just in case. When I'm flying single, as a single pilot, I like to have that paper with me, just because my ForeFlight has gotten hot and shut down before. So I like to have a nav log and have something on paper that I can look back to. And I stay proficient with my pilotage and dead reckoning, so everything can go out in the airplane on ForeFlight and everything else, and I'm still going to know where I'm at and I can get somewhere. But that's me. That's the way I fly. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the details of flight planning because there's an assumption that at this point in our flight training, we have done a number of cross countries and we know how to flight plan. So let's assume that we have planned this flight and we've got our nav log, we've got it on ForeFlight, whatever it is that we're doing, we have got a good solid nav log or flight log, and we understand our route, we understand our nav facilities, we understand our comm frequencies, the Class C that we're flying out of, the terrain, the obstacles, and all those things that are taken into account when we do a cross-country flight plan. And we are going to do flight following, and we are going to do follow flight plan. So we've got that set up, and we're comfortable with that. Now let's do a PAVE checklist. Now the PAVE checklist is really going to round out a lot of other things in addition to having our good flight plan, in addition to the checklist that we'll do in the airplane with our AFM or POH. Because remember, the AFM POH is pretty much geared to the airplane. PAVE takes into account a lot of things. So PAVE, remember, stands for pilot, aircraft, environment, and external factors. So let's go to the pilot first. Are we okay to fly? And that's where we incorporate the I am safe checklist. Illness, I'm good to go. I'm not sick. And let's talk about medications. I'm not taking any. And stress, normal, reasonable stress, because we all have some stress in our life. But nothing, honestly, that would prevent me from flying. Alcohol, I don't drink, so that's not an issue. Fatigue, I got a good night's sleep last night, so I'm pretty well rested. And emotion, there's nothing going on around me that is going to have an emotional tug on me that's going to affect my ability to concentrate and to fly the way I should. And, you need to be really honest with this part of things, because it's important. And there's a scripture verse, and it's really a kind of a near and dear scripture verse to me. It's Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him; He'll make your path straight. So, to me, that's you're being straight with God, and that's what He expects, and He's straight with you. That's the way we should be when we fly. Be honest with, especially with yourself. Be honest with the aircraft, with the environment, with the external factors. Those things are going to make a difference. So moving on to the aircraft. The aircraft, familiar with it. We're good to go. I'm familiar with. I've flown it a lot, so I understand the gear inside, the avionics. I'm comfortable with this airplane, and it's mechanically and maintenance-wise, it's ready to go. The environment. Now we've covered that when we did our good solid pre-flight. So we've checked weather. We've checked all the things that we're supposed to check, so the environment part of the PAVE checklist is rock solid. Okay, external factors. Nothing's going on that's going to pressure me to make this flight. This is not life or death. It just isn't. If we don't fly this flight, the world is not going to break in half. So if you've got things that are really kind of knocking at you, again, be honest with that. And if you can't fly, you can't fly. It's okay. It's a no-go flight, all right? But we're good to go on this one. So we've done the PAVE checklist. We're good to go. Thumbs up. It's a go flight. We've done our cross-country flight planning, man. We're good to go on this. We take off and we leave. And as we get closer, we're told that we can't land at Dare County Airport. Okay. You know why? Because part of your cross-country planning should be this, that you have an alternate, even on a wonderfully beautiful day. Okay, if you've got weather that's a problem, that's a different kind of flight planning. That's a different set of considerations. On a good, wonderful, visibility, unlimited, ceilings like through the roof, not a problem at your destination airport or anywhere around there, you still need to have a place that you can go to in case you can't land at your destination airport. This is a case in point. I think that's probably why the professor gave this to us, because everything can be great. You get to your destination, an airplane has made a bad landing on there, is sitting on the runway, or in this case, deer. So have a different place. My gosh, can't land here, birds are here. Okay, not a problem. I would ask them, hey, is the airport going to get cleared, in a reasonable amount of time? Maybe we can just tool around for a minute and then land. If they say no, okay. In this case, we're going to fly right up to first flight, 7 miles up to the northeast. Easy, but we already knew that. We were already ready for that, and that's the way you should plan this flight. Now, you notice I didn't pick anything down to the southwest, because if you look at the chart, down to the southwest, you just get into a massive restricted area, so we're not even going to bother with that. There's enough airports up to the northeast and back up towards the north that you can land at. So we're good to go on that. Let me mention flotation gear. Again, coming from flying in the Navy, I mean, we flew over water all the time, obviously, so going into the water was always a consideration for us, and that's probably just ingrained in me. So when I fly over water, I'm going to really dig into that to not just for the regulations, because they say within, you've got to be able to make a power off gliding distance from the shore. If you can't do that, you've got to carry flotation gear. I'm probably a little over paranoid about that, but really dig into that since you're flying over water, and if you're going to need to put flotation gear on there. For me, if I'm flying over water, I'm going to toss some in there. Okay, so knowns and unknowns. If I haven't mentioned this already, don't ever take off on an airplane when you've got a bunch of unknowns. That's just silly. Check off all the unknowns, have an answer for them. The only unknown that should happen is something that was well beyond your control. And then you deal with that if it comes up. And in this case, the unknown was deer on the runway. Not a big deal. You had already planned for that, just like you would plan any other cross-country. Now, can we count this as a cross-country? Well, let's look at the definition of cross-country right quick. 61.1, and essentially what that says is conducted by a person who holds a pilot's certificate in an aircraft that includes a landing at a point other than point of departure, and for an airplane, it's got to be over 50 miles straight line distance. Well, we're going 132 miles, so if we land at first flight, we can actually count that as a cross-country who's gone over 50 miles. But we also have some additional cross-country type things that are required. If you look at 61.129 aeronautical experience for commercial, you got a couple of flights, 2-hour cross countries in a single engine airplane, day or night, depending on which one you're flying, with a straight line distance of over 100 nautical miles. So we could get that tick mark if we needed that. So either way, you could get some cross country time, but you've got to land. If you just turn around and go right back to Richmond and don't land anywhere, nope, it's not going to count. So consider that as well. Okay, I think I've answered all of the items that we needed to address in this. If my video was one that you comment on, please let me know what I can do better, or what I missed, or what might have been important that for you that maybe I didn't think about. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and everyone fly safe. Take care. See you. Bye.